Hello, thank you for joining me today. To everyone who's already familiar with VSI or been a longtime subscriber, welcome back and thank you so much for your continued support. And to everyone new, welcome and thank you for joining the cause. I'm Sierra, founder of the Visual Snow Initiative, or VSI for short. The Visual Snow Initiative is a nonprofit organization that I started in 2018 to facilitate awareness, education, resources, patient advocacy, treatment development, and research for the neurological disorder Visual Snow Syndrome, also known as VSS. Things are very different today than when I first experienced onset of VSS in 2015. Not that long ago, most of the medical community didn't believe VSS was a real medical condition because there wasn't enough scientific data yet to substantiate its existence and corresponding symptoms. Other physicians simply hadn't heard of VSS before, so they had no knowledge of how to help their patients understand or manage this condition. As a result, nearly every person with VSS who sought help, like myself, was subjected to doubt, misdiagnosis, or marginalization. VSS patients were being sent home without any resources, hope, or idea where to turn next, which only led to further stress and isolation that worsened their condition. Researchers and physicians who knew VSS was a legitimate condition from the start and were passionate about helping patients expressed that they would be unable to continue their research due to lack of funding. With research efforts at risk of coming to a halt, the very limited information that was available about VSS at the time was all people had. Many patients and their loved ones were concerned about what was going to happen to them, scared that VSS might be degenerative, that they would go blind or even die. Without any answers, this fear fostered confusion, misconceptions, misinformation, and speculation surrounding VSS. In 2018, since organizing the first ever Visual Snow Conference and starting VSI, my team and I have worked diligently and passionately alongside worldwide experts in neuro-ophthalmology, neurology, ophthalmology, optometry, neuroscience, and neurobiology to establish awareness, legitimacy, and solutions for VSS. Through our collective efforts to raise awareness within the medical community and online, more people know about VSS today than ever before. People are sharing their stories and connecting. According to VSS researchers, the medical community and even former non-believers are now paying attention to VSS. We funded studies which produced scientific, measurable evidence that proved VSS is a legitimate medical disorder that manifests within the brain. There was a measurable difference between the brains of study participants with VSS and those without. With an increase in awareness and studies about VSS, the condition's existence and its impact have not only gained scientific and clinical acceptance, but interest in VSS and VSS research are also on a notable rise compared to before. Many doctors are also still unaware about VSS, but today, unlike the past, there is scientific and clinical evidence to validate the condition's existence, impact, and symptomology. So now, physicians can access the data from these studies as an educational tool to better understand VSS and help their patients. These studies also showed us that VSS is not a disease, it is a syndrome. Evidence shows that VSS is not degenerative, and we now know that it is unrelated to the structural integrity of the eyes. Studies also revealed that VSS can not only affect vision, but hearing, cognition, and sensory processing as well. It can be challenging to determine roughly how many people have VSS, as many VSS patients have been subjected to misdiagnosis or given no diagnosis, especially if their physician has never heard of VSS before. Additionally, many cases of VSS also go undiagnosed or unreported because people born with VSS may not even realize they have a neurological disorder. If they've experienced VSS symptoms since birth, living with this can feel normal to them, whereas people who experience onset of VSS later on usually notice a stark difference between their life pre-VSS and post-VSS, prompting them to seek help and a diagnosis. The more we've spread the word about VSS, the more people realize they may have symptoms of this condition as well. Once thought to be rare, researchers have now estimated 2 to 3% of the world's population is impacted by VSS symptoms. But more information, studies, and diagnostic tools regarding VSS were still necessary to truly make an impact. And once they were funded and developed, consistently spreading the word about VSS within the medical community and public were essential, so physicians could then become informed to help patients. This is one of many reasons our team continues to collaborate with worldwide physicians, researchers, and scientists like we have in the past to develop new clinical and diagnostic tools. Because VSS was so difficult to diagnose at the time, VSI, alongside Dr. Peter Goadsby, Dr. Owen White, Dr. Victoria Pilak, and Dr. Yasser Khan, created the first ever diagnostic criteria for visual snow syndrome. Using our diagnostic criteria, found on our website, anyone in the world can show it to their doctor and find out if they have VSS, as some doctors may still be uneducated about VSS and how to diagnose it. Physicians who were once unaware can now use it as a diagnostic tool, and this reduces the prevalence of VSS misdiagnosis and patient marginalization. Our team also created the first worldwide directory of VSS physicians and specialists so that anyone could easily find a doctor with knowledge of VSS in their country. We hope to continue adding even more names in the future as interest and education regarding VSS continues to grow. If you know of a physician with knowledge of VSS we can add to our directory, please let us know, as it can benefit people with VSS who are looking for a doctor that understands them locally. Moreover, studies showed that VSS entails a comprehensive list of both visual and non-visual symptoms. Having VSS isn't always just seeing visual snow or static, although this is the hallmark symptom of the condition. It typically encompasses much more than that, with common symptoms ranging from palinopsia, photophobia, and enhanced entopic phenomenon, which are visual, to tinnitus, insomnia, brain fog, dizziness, paresthesia, and depersonalization, which are non-visual. Not everyone with VSS experiences the same set of symptoms. Their level of intensity can vary from mild to severe. The degree of impact VSS has on a person's life can also depend on which symptoms they have, how severe they are, when the person experienced onset, their medical history, and lifestyle. But for most, it is debilitating. Additionally, the studies we funded established validity for those who suffer from non-visual symptoms of VSS, such as anxiety, depression, and depersonalization. This is important because a common issue within the medical community was that uninformed physicians believed their patients with VSS were simply imagining their symptoms or making it all up. Physicians weren't taught about VSS in medical school, so when patients with VSS complained of symptoms they had never heard of, they wrongfully dismissed it as delusions or symptoms of anxiety and depression alone. This misconception was only further fueled by the fact that many VSS patients, due to their symptoms and the impact they have on their quality of life, were indeed anxious and/or depressed. And not being believed or understood by their doctor only intensified these. So it was, unfortunately, all too common that people with VSS were just referred to psychiatrists instead of a proper specialist, such as a neuro-ophthalmologist. Thankfully, studies proved that VSS is a real brain disorder that entails not only visual disturbances like visual snow and palinopsia, but also non-visual symptoms like anxiety, depression, and depersonalization. This showed the medical community that VSS symptoms, their severity, and impact on the patient's quality of life can not only induce anxiety or depression, but it can also exacerbate them if the patient already experienced them. This data proved their symptoms and associated feelings about their condition had scientific validity, which we already knew but needed to prove using the correct designated scientific methods in order to get the medical community on board. While studies seeking further information regarding the symptoms and pathophysiology of VSS were underway, patients were left without virtually any treatment options. This area was not being researched thoroughly, and experts faced challenges finding a one-size-fits-all treatment that did not pose serious health risks or potentially harmful side effects to patients, as not everyone with VSS has the same type of symptoms or medical history. As I mentioned, some people are also born with VSS, while for others, symptoms come on later in life. And even then, people often attribute onset of VSS to a wide variety of different catalysts. But many people with VSS express that they were struggling with their symptoms in the meantime, and their quality of life was slipping away. And thus, research into potential treatment options began, which gave way to the first ever viable, non-invasive treatment option for visual snow syndrome: neuro-optometric rehabilitation therapy, or NORT, which demonstrated effective symptom reduction and quality of life improvement for VSS patients. Exploration into the benefits of FL41 tinted lenses, which many people with VSS find helpful, as well as other effective therapies and lifestyle changes, are also underway. Not too long ago, it was thought that VSS wasn't real and patients were making their symptoms up. Today, the data has proven this notion was wrong. Awareness was sparse. There were few resources, no treatment options, or clinical and diagnostic tools to help VSS patients. I'm proud to be part of the reason much of that is no longer the case, and the world now has a chance to become a more accepting, accessible, and informed place for people with VSS, and I hope you are too. But there's still more work to be done, and we want to continue this upward trajectory of more awareness, legitimacy, research, treatment options, information about the pathophysiology of VSS, and more overall progress to continue. Which brings me to our latest VSI updates. As a continuation of this progress, I'd like to share the newest developments regarding what the VSI team is working on with you. All right, let's get to it. New website. Firstly, we're excited to announce the launch of our newly redesigned website. Everything's been updated, from the design to all the information about visual snow syndrome, visual snow initiative, resources, diagnostic tools, and so much more. It was important to us to improve the user experience for mobile, desktop, and tablet, as well as add new helpful web pages and functionalities. I want to give a special shout out to VSI's Director of IT, Merad Mazaheri, for his creativity, guidance, and skills as the website was designed under his leadership. Myself, Vanessa Mora, our Director of Research, and Daisy Berman, our Director of Communications, also contributed. And now, let's go through some of the key website updates together. Brand new website design. The website has been completely updated with a fresh and modern design, optimized for an enhanced user experience. The new configuration ensures easy navigation, user-friendly interface, and improved accessibility features, making it simple for visitors to access information, resources, and support. Visual representation of VSS. The website now includes new graphics that effectively represent the visual disturbances and non-visual symptoms experienced by individuals with VSS. These visual representations create a more immersive and relatable experience for visitors, helping them better understand the condition, its impact, as well as what each VSS symptom looks like. New FAQ page. A new FAQ page has been added to provide VSS patients with answers to their most common questions, making it quick and easier for them to find relevant information and resources. New Visual Snow Worldwide page. Our new Visual Snow Worldwide page and gallery showcases a collection of images of people and places around the world, highlighting the visual snow community and showcasing the significant contrast between the lives of those with VSS symptoms and those without. Our new Managing VSS page is dedicated to providing evidence-based treatment options for VSS, along with helpful tips for managing symptoms. Updated Physicians Directory. Our Physicians and Specialists Directory has been updated, alphabetized, and organized by location. It now includes profile images and a search bar, making it convenient for individuals seeking medical assistance. Warriors of the Week. Our Warrior of the Week page now features a new UI/UX design, allowing the VSS community to easily share their stories on social media, raising awareness and fostering community support. Printable documents for patients. Important printable documents, including the treatment protocol and diagnostic criteria, are now available for VSS patients to easily access and print to share with their doctors, aiding in their diagnosis and treatment. Of course, you can also show it to them on your mobile phone or tablet if you don't want to print it out. New research. On the research front, we're excited to announce our partnership with Dr. Francesca Puledda, who will be leading an innovative research project to advance our understanding of visual snow syndrome at King's College in London, England. Dr. Puledda's project aims to identify biomarkers that can aid in the diagnosis and treatment of VSS. Biomarkers are measurable indicators found in our body that can indicate changes associated with a specific medical condition. In the case of VSS, identifying biomarkers can help us understand the changes in brain metabolism and connectivity that cause the underlying symptoms. Why is it important? Well, biomarkers can be used as targets for future personalized and effective treatments for visual snow syndrome. Dr. Puledda and her team will use state-of-the-art neuroimaging, specifically magnetic resonance spectroscopy and a 7 Tesla MRI, which is the most powerful brain imaging machine in existence, to identify these biomarkers. Another technique that will be used is transcranial magnetic stimulation, or TMS, and electroencephalography, or EEG. This technique involves applying a magnetic field that activates neurons in the brain and recording the electrical activity. Researchers can study the brain's excitability, connectivity, and sensory processing by analyzing the electrical signals that are produced. This research not only benefits VSS patients, but it could also help people suffering from other conditions with similar symptoms, such as migraines, tinnitus, and HPPD. Clinicians, researchers, academics, and VSS patients will all benefit from this exciting work. The Visual Snow Initiative will also be releasing a new video series with Dr. Puledda about her upcoming research. She'll be sharing more information about her work and what to expect in more detail, so stay tuned. New treatment information/study update. We also have an exciting development to share regarding future treatment options for visual snow syndrome. About 16 months ago, the Visual Snow Initiative partially funded a VSS study led by Dr. Sui Wong. Dr. Wong is a neurologist, neuro-ophthalmologist, and consultant for Guy's and St. Thomas NHS Foundation and Moorfields Eye Hospital in London, England. Dr. Wong's VSS study involved her patients using mindfulness-based cognitive therapy, or MBCT. As part of Dr. Wong's 8-week study design, each participant had scans of their brains before, during, and after the MBCT program. This was the first ever study utilizing MBCT intervention in the visual snow syndrome population. Dr. Wong's findings not only revealed that MBCT was successful in VSS symptom reduction for the majority of the patients, but the brain scans also showed an improvement, a measurable difference in brain activity after MBCT treatment. Dr. Wong recently presented her findings at the North American Neuro-Ophthalmology Society's annual meeting. The data from her presentation was met with approval and enthusiasm by many medical professionals in attendance, including some of the world's top VSS researchers and neuro-ophthalmologists. VSS experts and professionals are now recognizing the potential of MBCT as a highly effective approach to VSS treatment. We are interested in applying MBCT amongst a larger VSS patient population in the future to determine if this could be a viable treatment option for VSS patients worldwide. In light of Dr. Wong's extraordinary findings and the support it has received from other VSS experts, we're interested in continuing our collaboration and exploring this further. Dr. Wong's study is currently in the peer review process and will be published in the future. Once it's available, we will be sure to announce it on the Visual Snow Initiative website and social media. The efforts, process, and importance of including visual snow syndrome in the International Classification of Diseases. Next, I'd like to discuss the importance of getting visual snow syndrome in the International Classification of Diseases and the Visual Snow Initiative's efforts to make it happen. We are currently working with the World Health Organization, also known as WHO, Dr. Peter Goatsby, and Dr. Owen White toward the potential inclusion of visual snow syndrome in the ICD. What is the International Classification of Diseases, or ICD? Well, the ICD is a standardized system healthcare providers use to classify and code medical conditions, diseases, and injuries. Maintained by the World Health Organization, the ICD is a critical tool for clinicians to diagnose, monitor, and treat patients. Including VSS in the ICD would benefit patients, healthcare providers, and researchers. Key benefits of an ICD for VSS include improved diagnosis and treatment, access to resources and support, research and public health, as well as global standardization. Now, let's take a look at what these key benefits entail. First is increased awareness. VSS is often misdiagnosed or undiagnosed due to a lack of awareness among healthcare providers, researchers, and the general public. Including VSS in the ICD would raise awareness about the condition and its symptoms, leading to global recognition and understanding. This increased awareness could also potentially lead to further research on VSS. Next, we have improved diagnosis and treatment. By including VSS in the ICD, healthcare providers would have a standardized way to identify and diagnose the condition, leading to a more accurate and timely diagnosis. Importantly, access to resources and support can become a possibility. Insurance companies and healthcare organizations use the ICD to determine coverage and reimbursement policies. Including VSS in the ICD would help patients access healthcare resources and support, including specialized care, and allow for the insurance policies to cover the services. This would ensure that patients with VSS receive appropriate and timely care without facing financial barriers. Next up, we have research and public health. The ICD provides a standardized way to collect and analyze data on health conditions, which is critical for identifying trends, developing interventions, and monitoring the impact of public health initiatives. Including VSS in the ICD would give researchers a standardized way to study the condition, leading to a better understanding of its epidemiology, prevention, and treatment outcomes. This could contribute to developing guidelines and interventions for managing VSS. Finally, we have global standardization. The ICD is used globally by healthcare providers, researchers, and policymakers. Including VSS in the ICD would provide a global standard for identifying and diagnosing the condition, promoting consistency in diagnosis, treatment, and research. This would facilitate international collaboration in research and clinical practice, leading to a better exchange of information and knowledge on VSS and potentially developing global guidelines for managing the condition. All these benefits would ultimately contribute to better healthcare outcomes for patients with VSS and advance our understanding of the condition. Therefore, including VSS in the ICD would be a huge milestone for both the VSS and medical communities. We hope you enjoyed learning about our organization's ongoing efforts and the progress being made regarding VSS. If you're interested in staying informed about the latest VSI updates, projects, or any of the topics I covered in this video, then please feel free to visit our website and subscribe to our newsletter. Or you can follow us on social media for all that plus daily VSS content. We also share updates on our YouTube channel, as you know. On behalf of the VSI team and I, thank you so much for your support. We applaud your resilience and creativity, and we are so grateful for your kindness, generosity, and efforts to help our cause. Together, we can take initiative to make the world a better place for people with VSS. Until next time, everyone, Bye.